Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another ChinWag. I'm Richard Vobes. It's the 2nd of August 2022, and today I want to talk about loyalty. Loyalty in business, that is, or whether you are loyal to the large utility companies. And what does it mean? And is there any point being loyal to a company? When I was young, growing up, I was taught, I don't know specifically how or by whom, that being loyal was a good thing. Being loyal for a friend, being loyal to your employer, being loyal to everybody, basically, by not cheating, by not going behind their back, by being friendly, by being honest, by being a good person generally, and treating people as you would want to be treated yourself. I don't know how these things were instilled in me, possibly by my parents, most likely, presumably also by the schooling that I had. I didn't do and never attended church, so I've not had Bible lessons or any religious indoctrination into me, but I've always felt that it is not a good thing to cross people if you can, or to stab people in the back, metaphorically, or even physically, and that it is good to be loyal to somebody, to think of the other person, how they will feel about it. Now, because in business, you would think that a business would want their customers to be loyal, and that they would be loyal back to their customers by rewarding that loyalty in order to continue the customer's custom. I mentioned, I think, in one of these chinwags, when being a school kiddie and going to the sweet shop and measuring out, ordering a quarter of bonbons or sherbet lemons or licorice, all sorts, whatever it is, and they would weigh them out. And the enticing part was the fact that you saw the needle go over the amount you'd ordered just a little bit, and you thought, wow, look at that. And as a result of that, you always went back to the same sweet shop because you knew that the guy was a little bit generous, and you sort of had this loyalty. He knew by giving you an extra sweetie that you would come back and would be loyal to him. If he started to treat you and underplay it and say, well, basically I've given you an extra half ounce of not hundreds and thousands, but a sweetie, a sherbet lemon or something. Now I'm going to just not quite give you the quarter of an ounce, a quarter of a pound that you asked for. You would feel cheated. I often feel that with the large utility companies these days, that being loyal is actually a disadvantage. That you stay with a company and they treat you as if you're an idiot. And that we're encouraged nowadays, aren't we, to change as frequently as possible, because it's the new customers who get these best deals. If you're with an internet company or a telephone company, and if you join within the next 6 months, you'll get 18 months of such and such a deal at this price before it changes back. But it's only available to new customers. Those customers who've been with us for 5 or 10 years, loyally paying month after month and not going anywhere else. No, you guys will actually find that your prices are going up because we, the company, treat you as if you're as gullible as anything and therefore as thick as shit. And that's not good. I think that is awful when they think that you are as thick as a moron, that you're just staying with them. And so in the end, the loyalty means nothing. So are you somebody who changes? Do you change regularly, or do you stick with the same company because there is something about that company you like? Be interested to know. I'm constantly being phoned up by telephone companies who ask me if I want to save money all the time. They ring up and they say, how much are you paying? We can do it cheaper. The thing about that is, whilst I would like to have my phone bill cheaper, that's true, I don't know who these companies are, and why would I trust them when they ring you up out of the blue? And I often say to them, I say, well, okay, give me a website that I can go and look at. I want to know a little bit more about you before I just switch my account, because if I'm going to be disloyal to a company that I've been loyal for a long time and have some, in my mind, some form of rapport with, and then I go and join you and you turn out to be a bunch of morons or shysters or whatever, I'm locked in, suddenly you whack the price up because I don't know you from Adam. You may be the best people in the world, but at the same time, you approached me, not I approached you. And because you approached me, I'm suspicious. I'm suspicious that you don't have any business, which is why you've approached me. Whereas I'm actually already in with a company and I've been with them for X many years. I know how they operate and I sort of trust them. I know I might be paying a bit more, but I know the service levels. So sometimes, even though you know you're being shat on, but you may know enough about the company you're with to think, okay, I can cope with that because I do know that if I complain, I will get it. So my internet, for example, I have a business arrangement. It's not on a domestic one, it's a business one. So I know I pay a lot more for my internet. However, the internet doesn't go down. And if on those very rare occasions that it does go down, I pick up the phone and I can say, excuse me, this is Richard Vobes here. This is my business. You need to fix it. And they do actually jump to it and fix it. If I was a domestic customer, it would be, yeah, all right, mate, wait your turn. And so there's a little level of service that I am prepared to pay a bit more for on my internet. That said, though, I'm looking forward to changing my mobile phone to a different company. And I've been recommended one that I've heard a number of people say unlimited, so that I can actually upload stuff whilst on the road. That's a different story. So are you somebody that is loyal with a company, or do you find that being loyal with a company is absolutely the wrong thing to do, and that you're better if you change your supplier all the time? Be interested to know. What do they need to do to keep you? It is annoying, is it not, that if you're with a company and you ring them up and you say, look, I've been with you for 10 years and you're charging me this, and I notice you're charging other people a lot less, I'm going to leave. And it's only when you threaten to leave do they go, oh, well, we could change your contract. And I think to myself, oh, can you do that retrospectively then for the last 9 years? Because I was thinking of leaving 9 years ago, but I didn't because I was stupid enough to be loyal. But no, we can do it now. It's like, well, why didn't you offer me this before? Well, of course they didn't. It's not in their interest until I'm unhappy, which is silly, because if they were to say, hey, Mr. Vobes, we've got a new deal. It's actually going to save you a lot more money. We can switch you on it. You'll get more of this for less. Would you like to switch on it? Yeah, okay, that sounds great. Okay, we'll do that for you because you've been a good customer for us and helped us keep ourselves on the golf course or having holidays in Mauritius or whatever it is these big executives do, being a loyal customer. Do you find being loyal is rewarding or not? Answers on a postcard or in the comments section would be lovely. So let us go now and have a look at some of the comments. And, excuse me, coughing. Still trying to get rid of this cough, so excuse me, I must have a glass of water and not Vino Calapso. Rami Boo 2 says, I kind of chuckled about not knowing how to take some folks' comments, especially when they're always the opposite of what you say. One of my brothers is like that. He's the nicest guy in the world, and most people really enjoy sitting down and discussing things with him. He's actually very easy to talk to and highly intelligent and knowledgeable. I think, though, because he is so smart, particularly book smart, he questions everything. He loves to debate things, things that don't always need debating. So sometimes, especially as his sister, I find it annoying because it's not just... Sorry, let me start that again. I find it annoying just because it's not my personality to do so. So if this particular person is a fan and a patron of yours, not to take it personally. He just enjoys the intellectual challenge and discussion of looking at a topic from all angles. And I think that's true. I think that's what's going on. But sometimes you haven't got the time to sort of go, oh, hang on a minute, it's him, and that's what he's doing. You're just reading the comments, and then you see from the same person they're always contradictory, and then you think, why is he doing that? I'm somebody who does like to question things. I don't like to take things at face value. I just find that I'm analysing what people say to me and thinking, do I believe it? Not thinking, do I believe them? Because I think mostly people say what they think is actually a validation of what they think. It's the truth that they think. But whether I agree with them or disagree with them or partly agree. I don't always completely disagree with somebody. Sometimes I'll agree 90% with them, but it's 10% I'm not quite sure. Or I'm questioning how they've expressed it because I'm not sure that that's what they mean, and I want to double check that the context of what they're saying is how they've expressed it. I think that's sometimes going on in my mind. Doodle Sparkle Cleaning says, if you and Julia go by my comments, you may think I'm crazy. My husband says I am. Love your new camping video. The site looked really nice. Thank you very much. Yes, it was a lovely site, actually. Thank you very much for that. Shirley Lynch says, both looking exceptionally smart. Just noticed Julia has a lilac stroke purple camper van at the other side of her. Matching her microphone. Yes, that's the sort of purple side of the studio. I mean, the Bald Explorer is in a kind of purpley colour. And then, as you can see, a bit more purpley on that side because often Julia sits there, I suppose. That didn't happen by design, to be honest with you. But there we are. And Tracy Jane says, we have a 6-berth tent and there are only 3 of us. Well, she actually says there's only 3 of us, but I assume she means 3. We like a lot of room and bring everything. Yes, is that glamping? Is that more glamping than camping? And, who cares? I guess you see people with all sorts of different things. And it's nice if you happen to be near somebody who's very generous and you say, oh, blimey, I forgot to bring a saucepan. And they turn around and say, don't worry. We got a saucepan. You can borrow that, which is lovely. Tracy Murphy says, when we met you and Julia, it was so lovely to meet in person. We had such a fantastic time on the Ditchling Common walk, and you were both most welcoming. Gained many wonderful friends due to your groups and channels too. Great to see that you're well again, Julia, and glad you had a good birthday, Richard. Yes, I had a lovely birthday. Thank you very much. And, excuse me, still got this... I don't know, is it Qatar? Is it sitting on the thing? It's pretty much gone. I'm feeling so much fitter than I was last week. It's just this lingering little cough, which is a nuisance. But yeah, lovely birthday, and the videos will be out this week on the Bald Explorer channel. Pete Abraham says that profile pics and avatars can really fool the best of us when meeting people through social media for the first time. As I now live in Bristol, they expect me to have a thick West Country accent. I find it very amusing given the fact that when they hear me speak, I have a typical Herefordshire accent, which is where I grew up. Or, as some would rather say, it was posh. I say, old chap. I must consider that I've been surprised and disappointed when meeting people for the first time, as my perception for what I had for them has been very wrong by reading what they say on their profile or chat log and their photo and avatar, which I suppose one could argue could make me and others unintentionally prejudiced. Keep up the good work on the channel. Nice to see Julia looking well again. Absolutely. And you're absolutely right. It's interesting because sometimes I'll say to Julia when we're reading some of the comments on the Bald Explorer, I said, do you think that person really looks like that? Or is that just a comedy picture they've pulled out? Or are they putting a picture of them looking 20 years younger, So it's much more interesting. You find out people are much nicer in real life than the comments, funny enough. Although people are very nice in their comments, he says quickly. Sherry Allen says, interesting that you bring up the devil's advocate. This is my husband's personality trait, and it drives me crazy. He's really a great guy, but this stance he takes while talking to everybody, even me, is very off-putting. So there we are. If you take the devil's advocate and you always look the other side of the coin, then note that not everybody likes it. Thank you for that, Sherry. Michael White says, happy birthday, very kind. And Jim Hanks says, a great chinwag, again, both of you. Sarcasm is a thing that can be taken out of context in the written form, and blimey, yes, it does. It's very difficult sometimes, and you think you're being witty, and actually suddenly somebody's very offended and they disappear. Wiltshire man, Richard, he says, I often camp in tent and pack it up wet, but it's always dry when I get back home before storage. It's absolutely essential, he says, to dry camping kit before storage, or it will become ruined. Yes, I can well believe that. As for camping, I enjoy solo camping as far away from other people and campsites as possible, where I can experience the environment, the wildlife, and chill out, just to be me. I couldn't agree more, although camping on a campsite is quite new and novel for us. And actually, it's fantastic doing the people watching. We found sitting in the Folly Farm campsite, which is one of the videos that goes out now, just humorous watching people's walk, the kind of clothes they wear when they're going off with their washing up stuff or to the shower, or just not. There was a woman that we watched who had about 4 children with her, no discernible husband, and she could never sit still. She was up, moving about, doing something, and then would sit down for like a second, and then was up again, like a mother hen, very much like a mother hen. And I did think you could film these people on a long lens so they didn't see it, and then just choose the appropriate music or indeed animal sound effects, because people do move about a bit like certain animals. I think that's actually quite true, that people do adopt, whether consciously or subconsciously, these strange animalistic traits in some way. So it is quite funny. Wiltshire man continues and says, I will, on occasion, use a bivvy bag. I'm not quite sure what a bivvy bag is, or a hammock, and sometimes will backpack or cycle to my overnight spot, wherever that may be. I think it's interesting, these terms, bivvy and all of that. I'm a bit weird. I'm not keen on all the camping, the paraphernalia that the commercial companies that put together, you know, so things like whatever a bivvy bag is, or these, you know, very, very thin technical clothing. I'm not a great fan of all of that. I much rather have a proper bit of Harris tweed or wool. Well, tweed is wool, of course. And the old-fashioned type of clothing and things. I don't really buy into all this modern, extremely lightweight stuff. I'm just somebody who likes things chunky and heavy. It means you've got to carry more, and it's heavier, I get that. But I'm just not keen on all this sort of almost new agey stuff. Finally, we'll do 2 more, and then we'll move on. Edward Moulding says, good to see you, Julia. Hopefully you've fully recovered. And It's Fun Viewing says, I believe when messaging or texting anyone, it can always be misconstrued. Some people do not have a lot of objective views. It doesn't pay for us all to be the same, but that doesn't mean that they don't like you or are mean. It's just some like to agree to disagree. It's just a general debate and can be undesirable for some. Just learn to have a thicker skin and take it on the chin. That it is what it is. That is what it is, yes. And until you meet them, you can't judge based on the messages typed without knowing the person generally. And that's very true, although I would imagine that the human mind is just one of those things that's a bit of a sponge, whether you like it or not, that you're judging, not consciously, but you're assimilating information about somebody based on every little tiny scrap of information that comes into you, because I think we just pigeonhole people, and perhaps we move those pigeonholes as we find out more. So, for example, sometimes just the name or the avatar can be, misleading. So you see somebody who perhaps has a picture of a fat person, just for the sake of argument, that might not be them, but already you're pigeoning, hold it right, okay, that's a fat person. And then if they change their avatar, you go, oh, so that was not them. I mean, some people use avatars of film stars. I see people like a picture of Mr. Bean or Steve McQueen, and you think, I don't know, that's a shot from a film like The Great Escape, Steve McQueen. What are you saying about, you're obviously not Steve McQueen, because he's dead. But what are you saying? You are somebody of that you associate with that person. You'd like to be like that person, but you're obviously not that person. And are you saying you're like that person as a actor, or are you saying that particular role? And you're trying to work all this out, and I think mostly we do it subconsciously. Anyway, there we go. That's a quick look at our comments. Thank you very much for watching. Yes, are you loyal to companies, or do you find it's a waste of time? Or are there certain companies that you are rewarded if you are loyal? We do see these very strange loyalty cards. Do they mean anything when you go shopping, really? Or is it just a con? I would be interested. Just a way of making more sales and making you spend more money with them. What do you think about loyalty in business? Take time to make a comment. We'll read it out next time. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.